Welcome back to Daytime. As daughters, our roles tend to change over the time, and we're talking about taking care of kids and perhaps taking care of our aging parents. We're going to talk about that today with Margot Beak, Development Manager, Home Instead Senior Care, Ottawa, and Nora Spinks, Chief Executive Officer, Vanier Institute of the Family. And I found it was really interesting when we were talking right before the show. We tend to be so focused on sort of our day-to-day thing that we kind of forget that there may come a time when we've got these opposing things going on both sides. Maybe not both, maybe just one, right? That we need to take care of. So it's not just taking care of our elderly parents, it's taking care of ourselves. You had a really great scenario when you were talking about in the green room about this.
Well, when you think about the role that daughters play today, not only are you taking care of your parents, but because we're living longer, you may play that role longer, and you may be coupling that with caring for your own kids, managing your own career. But when you're taking care of mom, unlike kids, you sometimes also have to manage your siblings and those sibling relationships. You come at elder care with 20, 30, 40 years of baggage, relationships, history. A little bit different when you start caring for a little one.
Yes.
So it's a very different role. And increasingly today, the odds are that when you're caring for a loved one, you're also going to be in the paid labor force.
Right.
And you're going to be playing that dual role and having to trade off your experience in your career and in the workplace, as well as in the home and in the community. So taking care of yourself is critically important.
Well, that's what I think tends to happen. You know, I think women, we tend to push so much aside, right? So oftentimes we'll have a twinge somewhere and we let that go. You know, whatever that pain is, it can wait. Or, you know, all of these responsibilities, we take care of all of them, and we keep pushing ourselves down to the bottom of the list. And then at some point, something's got to give, right?
Right. So we've put together it's called Daughters in the Workplace. So it's actually an educational program that Home Instead has put together to give the daughters, because it's typically the daughter that falls into this role, tips and resources and information to help them through this this new kind of course that they're taking, because you know, they not only have children that they're perhaps taking care of, but they also have their aging parents, and then again a workforce. So it can be quite stressful, and you know, sometimes they don't ask for help, or they don't even realize they need help. So they're juggling this and that. They're going, you know, a mile a minute. At work, they may be lashing out at coworkers because they're under stress, and some of them are fearful for their jobs, so they don't want to say anything. So this website will also give them conversation starters to help that conversation with their employer, and you know, bring it up in a way that they feel comfortable, and hopefully the employer can also then understand what they're going through, and they can work on a plan together. So it's, you know, it's to make it easier for the caregiver to be able to deal with all these different things that are going on in their life.
I think the message is also, it's okay to ask for help or accept help.
Accepting help is equally important. And you know, we often will use the analogy of the oxygen mask on the airplane. And if other people are dependent on you, if you don't put your own oxygen mask on first, you're not going to be there when they need you the most. And as women, that's almost counterintuitive.
That's right.
And so we have to do it consciously. And sometimes that means we have to reach out to community resources and supports, sometimes to our employers, or our managers, or our coworkers. And sometimes we just have to be open and aware that when somebody offers you help, it may mean that they're observing something in you that you're not yet observing in yourself. So that little twinge, that little need, that little exhaustion that you're heading towards, maybe somebody else will see it first. So accessing resources is an important stage, but if you're sort of in the circle of support, and I may be in your circle of support, you're the primary caregiver, you might not think to go to the website. I can do that for you. I can be there to assist. So it's an indirect or once removed caregiver, and we all play the role. We will all be care recipients, and we will all be caregivers at some time or another. And we will all be working with people who are caregivers.
Beautiful. I think at the extreme, not only do we want to accept help, or do we want to ask for help, there may come a time when it's too much now and we can't do it all. That must be a difficult moment to get to.
Yeah.
Right, for a woman or a man. I mean, there are men, but today we're talking about women specifically.
Yeah. So that was why we came up with the Daughters in the Workplace, because this has tips and it also has information, so they can find out things that they don't know about. So perhaps there'll be signs on there of the different things to look for, stress, when you're under stress, like barking at an employee. Also depression. Sometimes you go into depression and you don't know that you are, and you can reach out to HR, or you may have an employee assistance program that they can help you deal with that. And conversation, you know, talking to your friends and colleagues.
I was going to say, before we run out of time, where can people find Daughters in the Workplace?
So daughtersintheworkplace.ca has all of the information. There's a quiz on there, so you can take the quiz to see how much information you already know and what you may not know.
Fabulous.
And help you out.
Daughtersintheworkplace.ca. Thanks so much, lady. We got to go.